He shot himself with a bazooka. Was there an explosion?
No.
So I'm touching live, unexploded ammunition.
So all the operating rooms at Seattle Grace were completely evacuated.
I'm not leaving Bailey's husband on the table with his skull flap open.
Pink mist. That's what the bomb squad calls you when you blow up.
Dylan Young, bomb squad. That device is homemade, which means it's unstable and very unreliable.
I am 22 years old.
She's panicking. We need to clear the room.
This is some kind of mistake.
Really? Come on!
Initially, we're trying to figure out how do you make Grey's Anatomy into something that is able to sort of fill the demands of a Super Bowl episode. Action.
Sound speed. Hey, Mark.
We really wanted to find a way to do something different, and Shonda came up with this idea of this bomb.
Initially start with letting the departments read Dylan explodes on the page, and then everybody throws in their 2 cents.
Okay, here we go.
You guys, this episode...
The main goal is to try and realize Peter's vision and Shonda's vision. So the first thing we did beyond the meetings was our key grip. Matt Mania is a terrific artist, so we asked him if he'd like to do storyboards. And so we sat him down with Peter and to try to get into Peter's brain what he's trying to accomplish. We said you sort of break it down into its elements, and the explosion, how it affects all different people, all different departments. Special effects department, the prop department, the construction department, wardrobe.
Breaking down the storyboards was really the key to getting all these departments to work together. We had John Gray from special effects, really renowned, really good. I had come to the conclusion that he was going to have to use primer cord, which is actually a very dangerous thing to do on a stage. Normally when you do explosions of that nature, you try to avoid primer cord.
So, you know, we videotaped it a couple of times, did 2 or 3 tests exploding different types of bodies, different, made of different materials, and dragged Shonda out to watch and make sure she was on board for things. And, you know, I just wanted to explode.
We designed a series of debris cannons that special effects John Gray put together. Each one of these cannons would shoot at anything from balsa wood to paper, clothing material. Things that weren't necessarily sharp or going to put anybody's eyes out.
You shoot it in layers, is basically what you do. You empty the room and shoot a plate of the room with nothing in it. Then you put the body in there, or the mannequin in there, and it blows up. So there's that layer that then gets put into the empty room. You then put the stunt person getting yanked back without any explosion or anything. And that gets married into the explosion eventually. And then you have smoke that gets put in, and you have flashes of light. You have all of these layers of things.
When it explodes, there's a moment, a fraction of a second, that we really change from actor into mannequin as it explodes.
And then what you do is you go in and you do the aftermath. You have to, the production, the art department has to come in and create the burn marks and the smoke and the debris.
Probably 2/3 of the parts that you see in the final explosion are all created in post-production.
My approach to the explosion was really to make it feel big enough that you might think that Meredith would die. My first cut, after Peter and Shonda saw it, they said, well, you've just blown up the whole hospital. You've got to hone it down. It was really taking 2.5 hours that they shot and trying to make it into about 48 seconds. The explosion is incredible, but what makes the explosion even more incredible is what happens before it, especially the 5 minutes leading up to it. Because what we have are all of our storylines basically colliding at one time. Peter shot a lot more close-ups, a lot more intense close-ups, and he also shot them with a little bit of movement. Some of them you'll notice, especially in Kyle Chandler, in that final sequence, the camera's a little bit nervous and jittery. That's to help add to that tension. So when we finally get to that moment, when she walks out after him to thank him, that explosion happens.
You really really are just setting up your ideal and your best guess, and then you do it, and it happens. So whenever anything like this works, I always, you know, not only pat ourselves on the back, but say a prayer to the gods and thank them as well. I mean, there is always a part that's just because it worked, for reasons you can't control or know.